Welcome back to That History Show. I'm your host, the sexiest talking tomato you've ever seen, Mato. This is the show where I actually live in the history that I'm teaching through the magic of pretty pictures. Today, I'm in ancient Egypt, home to pharaohs, money-making tourist attractions, and Greeks. All that and more on today's episode. You know what that means. If you end up enjoying this video, subscribe with the bell and smash that like button. Yeah, I don't know why we tell you to do that. It seems very impractical. Also, I feel free to comment your answer to Mato's random question. What aspect of Egyptian life do you find the most interesting? And if you really enjoy this video, maybe a little too much, consider opening a new tab, going to Mato on YouTube.com, clicking on this video, muting it, and just let it run on repeat for 4,000 hours. I arrived in Egypt around 3100 BC, also known as the Old Kingdom. This time period is defined by when King Jr unified the lower and upper kingdoms of Egypt. I would say he did this through peace and harmony, but yeah, it was probably war. I know history can seem like a cycle of violence, and well, you wouldn't be incorrect. I will continue to remind you that we are in fact monkeys with nukes, but I encourage you to take a closer look. What you might see might not be what you expect. I'll emphasize this a lot when I reach the world wars in roughly 1.2 billion years. The Nile River was by far the most critical aspect of ancient Egypt because you need to eat to survive, and if you ever noticed, North Africa isn't exactly famous for its abundance of naturally occurring food. Much like ancient Sumer, I would argue that the only reason Egypt could feasibly exist was because of the Nile. Much like in Sumer, the Nile floods annually, providing the required irrigation to the land around it. The fields actually became so fertile that they produced enough food to provide the entire population with food for a year, with food to spare. This is a prime example of the abundance that led to the Mikot dog. The large issue occurred when the Nile's annual flood was too shallow, which would lead to bad growing seasons. Let's say it's late at night, you're enjoying your favorite show. Don't worry, I won't judge. Suddenly, it hits you. The midnight munchies. No, not because of that. What do? Well, head to the nearest 24-hour fast food restaurant, of course. What tools do you need for this glorious undertaking? Well, your wallet, your keys, and your iron will. So, you hop in your used 2012 Toyota Camry with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine. You drive the 5 blocks and pull up to the drive-thru. The teenager who just wants to save up for a PS5 hands you your bag of sustenance. Easy, right? The same can't be said for the ancient Egyptians. Remember how the Sumerians invented the plow and domesticated oxen? Well, the Egyptians performed the definition of overcompensation by combining the two. These plows were divided between light and heavy, the heavy cutting into the furrows and the lighter ones following to turn up the land. Then came the hoes. Oh, so many hoes. Just so many. Egyptian hoes were made out of wood, which made these hoes expensive. These hoes were short-handled, which made working with these hoes incredibly grueling work. Often workers were bent over these hoes. The hoes were used to break up the clumps of soil. After this, the rows were sowed with seed. To transport the seed to the fields, workers would put the seeds in their sack and then carry them. Egyptians also had an irrigation system, similar to that in Sumer. Unlike Sumer, Egyptians used hydraulics to move water more efficiently. By the way, do not touch your neighbor's canal. Egyptian crops were pretty much the same with the addition of lettuce, sesame, corn, garlic, and opium. Also known as the joy plant, the opium trade was quite lucrative. It just goes to show that the only thing stronger than our capacity to kill each other is our capacity to feel good after we kill each other. So I'm just gonna go ahead and head back to my mud brick or limestone home with ramps for stairs, maybe head to the Nile to bathe, hunker down in the master bedroom suite, make a plain white knee-length kilt out of cotton, linen, or flax, and then fasten it around my waist with a belt made from cloth, papyrus rope, or leather. Maybe make some symmetrical jewelry. Then I might make some art, maybe a statue, an amulet, a coffin, or a tombstone. Then I might hang out with my family in the courtyard, and then play with the many sports such as javelin throwing, archery, wrestling, boxing, hunting, rowing, fishing, tug of war, or racism, politics, and more on Thanksgiving with my uncle. And then, would you look at that? The Old Kingdom is collapsing. Bill, is that? Bill's dead. It's disputed how exactly the Old Kingdom collapsed, but it's generally recognized that following the death of King Pepi II, the power of the ruler began to disperse, leading to power struggles and a civil war. This was accompanied by invasions from other civilizations. This led to the First Intermediate Period, which continued until Prince Mentuhotep toppled the regime of Heracleopolis, reuniting Egypt for a few hundred years. The Middle Kingdom was more, aggressive compared to the Old Kingdom. For one, they pulled in America and invaded Nubia for that sweet, sweet oil. Oh, wait, what? I'm being told it was for gold, ebony, and ivory. They also began trading with ancient Syria and Palestine, two countries that I just can't wait to cover. And also the first female ruler, whose name, if I attempt to say it, may summon a demon and incite the convergence of the multiverse, so I'm not going to do that. The end of the Middle Kingdom came about when the immigrant people, known as the Hyksos, were allowed to gain power in Lower Egypt, which eventually allowed them to challenge the rule of the king. Aw, immigration, yet another modern day topic that I just can't wait to cover. During the Second Intermediate Period, Egypt was split between the Hyksos in the north, Egyptians in the center, and Nubians in the south. Yet despite the disunity, these three nations continued relations with one another. This intermediate period ended with yet another conquest by the Egyptians, this time by Ahmose I. The Hyksos fled, however. Ahmose kept chasing them to the Middle East, but eventually retreated. The large negative of this period was hieroglyphics were no longer taught to scribe. Speaking of hieroglyphics, the word hieroglyphics is a combination of hiero, meaning holy, and glyphics, meaning marks. For the most part, the hieroglyphics meant exactly what the marking depicted, whether that be a snake, ancient aliens, or your girlfriend. However, historians have also managed to translate our alphabet to that of the Egyptians, with the notable addition of the letters CH, KH, and SH. I'm going to go over some Egyptian innovations, and while I'm at it, I'll say why I'm grateful for these inventions. Kind of an icebreaker of sorts. I invite you to do the same in the comments. So, welcome to WatchMato.com. Today we're counting down the top 10 best Egyptian innovations that help you live an easier life. Yeah, you. I'm looking at you. Number 1, paper and ink, cartoons. Number 2, cosmetics, hiding my third nipple. Number 3, toothbrush and toothpaste. What are those? Number 4, beer brewing, politically charged arguments with my uncle on Thanksgiving. Number 5, engineering and construction. I like not dying of cholera. Number 6, advancement in agriculture, ravioli. Number 7, medicine. I like not dying of tuberculosis. Number 8, astronomy. Stars look cool. Number 9, art and literature. Master Chief fan fiction in the description. Honorable mention, fishing hooks. Site number 4. And last but not least, number 10, mirrors. Isn't it obvious? Alright, where was I? Right, the New Kingdom. This is the kingdom everyone is really talking about when they say ancient Egypt. This is when the rulers actually became known as pharaohs, the most popular of which definitely being King Tut. During this period, Egypt began to expand its influence through the Middle East, kind of like somebody else I know, forming a vast bureaucratic network of contracts, treaties, letters between leaders, and bills for sale. My god, the similarities are uncanny. Some of the civilizations included the Hittites, Assyrians, and Babylon. However, throughout the New Kingdom, priests began to grow more powerful than the pharaoh. So much more powerful that they began to take back the land that they'd lost over the years. Egypt's neighbors in Arabia followed suit. Eventually, Egypt fell for good. This led to the Third Intermediate Period. Oh, would you look at that? The Persians are invading Egypt. Oh, would you look at that? The Greeks are invading the Persians. No, would you look at that? There's Greeks in Egypt. As promised, I'll talk about gods and pyramids now. The pyramids were built by slaves as tombs for the pharaohs. The pharaohs were mummified and buried with stuff that they would need in the afterlife, like gold, Yugo GB sports, and Master Chief fanfictions. Egyptians were polytheistic and believed that the gods were the lords of creation. Some Egyptian gods include Osiris, the god of the underworld, Isis, not that Isis, this Isis. We'll get to that Isis around the heat death of the universe. And last, but certainly not least, Roadhog. Alright, that's it. In conclusion, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe with the bell, and comment. Something. Anything. Literally. You can comment your fantasies about a video game character. Just comment. You guys engaging with my videos shows YouTube that people actually like the stuff that I'm pumping out, and that I'm not forcing Catalyst to make an army of bots in an office in the Earth's core. This helps more people actually see my video. So, thank you to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. With that being said, I'll catch you in the Indus River Valley Civilization.